What's going on, everybody? This is Brian, and I'm back with another Brian Speaks On. And for this vlog, I'm gonna go kind of to a sensitive spot, which is kind of what I do anyway, but it's a very often argued subject, and I want to present certain aspects to it that, although we may have spoken about it already, I don't think it's been approached with a little bit more of a constructive mindset. It's really been more kind of like things that have been used to throw at each other instead of informative, informative, constructive talk to better understand each other. And I've been kind of going on lately on my Facebook wall and even on here a little something regarding a kind of symbolic term called black empowerment. And I speak about empowerment from several different aspects. It doesn't necessarily mean specifically owning things or buying property and stuff like that, but although that's included. I wanted it to be kind of like an inside out feel where you're doing everything, taking ownership and empowering yourself from the inside out. And that starts from the home, from yourself, and you work it out to, and then it becomes a community, it becomes a house to house thing, and then a community thing, and then a cultural thing. And that's how I think grassroots movements are created. And I think that's kind of the secret to things starting to change. But anyway, when it comes to black ownership, not black empowerment, one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this specific aspect of black ownership is us regarding our bodies and taking better ownership of our bodies. And ownership is basically, talking about being responsible and taking and being accountable for what you do, for the actions that you take, the choices that you make. And I'm going to look at a subject that's been around forever, but has kind of taken a different turn over the last, I want to say, more like 10 years or so, and that is the rise of what a lot of women term as a portion of women's empowerment, and in terms of their sexuality. And I'm not focusing strictly on that. I'm going to talk about the masculine aspect as well, because both sides need to have things spoken to towards that. But being a man, I have more to speak on from a masculine perspective as I see this new wave style of feminism. And I'm going to start with the women, and then I'll go to the men as well, just to be as fair as I can be. And I'm all for being liberated, all for it. I just think that certain things get misconstrued as liberation, as being liberated, as being empowered. And I think being overt, I think the more movement towards doing things as a man does them, it kind of falls under that category for me. We go with the act like a man, think like a woman style of subject. I hear a lot of women say that it's only right that they should be able to do things the same way men do, in terms of being sexual and having a liberated sense of sexuality. And I think that's kind of like a paradox, in the sense of doing things as a man, you're crossing over into a realm that is not naturally you. Just as men doing things as a woman does would be the same thing on the opposite side. We're created the way that we are for particular reasons. And I think one of the main reasons why women come up with that concept is because they want equality. They want to feel like they're on an equal playing field. And also, they want men to feel it. A lot of women want men to feel what it feels like to get done in a certain way, psychologically or physically. If a woman sleeps with a man and just basically kicks, hits it and quits it, as the term goes with a dude, make a man feel it, and I think while you may gain that sense of satisfaction by doing something like that, I think overall a bigger point is missed, and that is that you may be doing that thinking that you're doing something in an empowered fashion. And then I guess in a way it is an empowered thing, because you're consciously saying, I can do this, I can choose to do this. But what you really wind up doing, and this is coming from a man telling you a man's thinking on this, for the most part, of course there's no such thing as a blanket statement, but for the most part, most men will be cool with that. If you want to just easily give him something because you love sex too, you're not going to find too many men that are going to be like, yeah, I'm not, I want to do more than just that. And, no, most men are going to be like, okay, I'll take that, no problem, thank you. They'll put on a glove and catch it, if that's what you want to do. So you're just giving men what they already wanted, for the most part, regardless, without even having to achieve it or earn it. To me, that's not being empowered. To me, that's being more of a slave to urges and carnal instinct. And again, when I know the usual counter argument to that is oh, well, it shouldn't be all right for men to be able to do it and we can't and all that. I'm not saying that that's not correct or accurate. What I'm saying is that two wrongs don't make a right. And if you really want to control men's behavior, you stand a better chance as a unified front with women by making men work and earn theirs. You stand a better chance by doing that. And I'm going to let me break it down a little bit better to where it doesn't sound like it's all your responsibility, because that's another thing a lot of women like to say, oh, it's not my responsibility to teach a man how to act, and he should already have these mannerisms, and he should already have this, and he should already. All right, that's a fair assessment, not even mad at that. But what I'm saying is that when you are truly empowered with yours, men like that who don't fall under that category won't apply to you regardless. So you really have nothing to worry about as it pertains to men like that. And I'm talking about quality men, And believe me, the number of quality men out there is a lot larger than what people are being led to be given this perception of. It's just that, kind of like in my previous video from about a month or so ago, most good men don't really see what's in it for them right now. So they're not really putting themselves out there as much as they used to, because there's really nothing in it for the good guy. But again, that's another video from another time. You should go check the archives and look at that too. But there's a theory of relativity that applies here. Certain things are just relative. And if there was a certain level of discipline applied, from a universal front from women, I'm not talking like women talking to each other and making it like a big social thing. I mean, like, just from, again, having ownership and doing it individually until it becomes a unified group thing. If women did not tolerate or allow certain things, or stop, or if women looked at the red flags and took them for what they were when you saw them, men's behavior would change. I'm not saying it would change completely. I'm not saying it would change, like this big tidal wave of change, but a great large number would change, because men, first of all, men only do what they get away with. First of all, you only do what you get away with. And secondly, men operate from the function of, will girls still, if I do this, will I still be able to get girls? And if they act a certain way and they do certain things, or if they look a certain way, if they dress a certain way, if their vocabulary, whatever, if down to the shoes that they wear, if girls don't like it and they can't get girls, if this is what it is, they're going to switch it up. Just like when you look at different eras of the past, you see how guys used to dress, you see how guys used to approach women, you see the whole wooing aspect of being acquainted with a woman and getting to know her and courting her and stuff like that. Yeah, that's because you could say that it was a different time, and it was a different time. But you don't see what's going on now going on back then either. So there's something that, history is to be learned from. And I'm just saying, you're not responsible for controlling a man's behavior, but you have the power to control men's behavior. And this is what I'm saying. It's not your responsibility to do it, but it's in your best interest to do it. So why wouldn't you do what's in your best interest? And again, you're not worrying about the masses of men out here who are just no good. You're just worrying about you, looking out for you. So if you look out for you as an individual woman and say, I will not tolerate anything less than blah, bang, 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 you control men's behavior from that. You don't control the mass of men's behavior, but you control which men you deal with from that. Because best believe, if you're carrying yourself and you have a presence about you that suggests that you are not that one, most dudes won't even bother, because there's plenty out there that they don't have to do the work for. So you've already eliminated half your problem just from that. And the few guys that do feel like they want to just roll a dice and take a shot, they don't have a shot anyway. So you eliminate your problem. Now again, to me, it's a theory of relativity. You kill two birds with one stone just from that. And if you looked out for yourself with as much scrutiny as you probably should, and it turned into you doing it, and then your girlfriend, and then that girlfriend, and then boom, 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 that's how it adds up. That's how the dynamic changes. Going out there and being just as, getting into debauchery just as much as men, you're just making it easier for dudes out here. I'm just saying. You're making it easy, and guys have no incentive to just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to be a nice guy. And then what do you always hear about nice guys anyway? So where's the incentive to be a nice guy when there's no incentive in it? When you actually get looked upon poorly for being a nice guy. So what's the point? The point is that if that's what you really want, then you give yourself that presence that attracts that. Simple. For men, you can't sit here and bash women and at the same time, exacerbate and encourage the behavior. If you wanna talk about queens and all that, that's what we're lacking. That's what we're missing. What are you doing to boost the esteem of these women, or to help boost the esteem of these women? What are you doing to be somebody who is worth submitting to, as the saying goes? Be a man worth submitting to. What are you doing to be that person? That is your responsibility. You're supposed to be a man. A man, a masculine man. You're not supposed to be some lame out here. And it's funny because so many of these dudes out here are just like getting over with being completely lame, and it's sad. It's sad on both sides that they're like lames get play, and it's crazy. But it is a man's responsibility, if you want to give yourself the title of a man, not just a dude that grew up or is of a certain age, to hold yourself. If you want a woman who's going to be all those things to you and submit to you, you got to be a king. You got to be that alpha. And I think alphas are very much in a state of lacking nowadays, but that's just my opinion. But again, it's all about ownership, taking ownership, and you are responsible for yours, for your body, for the actions you take with them, for the decisions that you make with it. You know, nobody's forcing you to be something that you would rather not be. Stick to your, stick to your standards, and stop allowing things to continue in this manner. And I'm telling you, man, it's really not as hard as people make this out to be. Because if everybody just did it from an individual perspective, then you already have, this wave of movement just from that. And the standards is just different now. Everybody can pretty much admit to that, but nobody wants to say that they're contributing to it. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, it's because of them. And the other side is saying, oh, it's because of them. No, it's because of both of y'all. It's because of both sides. And it's sad. But again, men have a very strong sense of, it's funny because you hear a lot about guys not being disciplined and stuff like that, and we're just savages chasing ass and all that. Men abide to a very particular code when it comes to women. Whether you want to call it fair or not, I'm not in the in the business of deciding if this is fair or if it's unfair. What I'm saying is this is what it is. And ladies, you might want to just keep your ears open and listen to this. Men categorize women and then treat them according to how they categorize them. They do not deviate from that. They do not switch up with that. Once they have categorized you, that is what you become. So if they categorize you as a woman that's like a high standard of woman, that's how they're going to treat you. Either that or they're not going to bother to even attempt to mess with you. But they'll categorize you as that. If they'll say, oh, this woman, she holds herself, high. She's like queen wifey status. That's how they're gonna treat you. They categorize you as a thought, or if they categorize you as loose, or if they categorize you as somebody who is just a notch below, that's how they're gonna treat you. That's how they're gonna roll up on you. That's how they're gonna, if you give them the time of day and you give them what they want, that's how they're gonna keep doing it. Once they categorize you, that's it. I think it would be more than fair, and I think that's what should be done from women. I think women should scrutinize and categorize men way stronger than what they do. They need to stop saying, oh, he's walking around looking this way, but he really takes care of his dog though. He's such a nice guy though. He talks to me in a certain... Look, you gotta scrutinize because you're supposed to be looking out for you. You're the one who has to deal with the BS if that's what it turns into. You can't be looking past the obvious and looking at the obscure and saying, oh, well, he's got such a clean bathroom though. Oh, but I know this side of him. Yeah, that's the side that you see like once in a blue moon. But the other 85% of the time, this is what he is. Scrutinize these dudes, man. Put them in a category and keep them there. Because for as much as y'all like to claim dudes is out here running all types of game and this and that, dudes pretty much show you what they are. The majority of the time, dudes show you who they are and what they're about. You need to apply that common sense that they show you and accept it and acknowledge it and go, okay, now I see. You are now put in the category of this, and thus will be treated accordingly. And I tell you, if you were to do that, you would eliminate way more drama from your life. Because once you categorize a dude and the dude feels that, like when we talk about the friend zone and we crack jokes about that, you see what happens to dudes that get put in the friend zone? They disappear. It's a pretty simple concept. Y'all already have an understanding of it. But you don't stick to your discipline. You see a guy and you go, oh, but he's got hazel eyes, oh, he's so cute. Looking right past the fact that, he is being pursued by like 3-4 women for child support and refuses to get a job because once he gets a job he'll get taxed for his child support. You'll look past that. Go, but damn, he's fine and he works out. Can't be doing that. That's irresponsible. It's irresponsible to yourself. Because he is what he is. And if he's a lame, that's what he is. Sorry, homie, you're a lame. You should do better. But again, that's not even supposed to be something that you should really worry about with these dudes. Because you're supposed to be looking out for yourself better. So dudes like that shouldn't even really affect your world. And again, if that became the majority, rule, a lot of these dudes would switch up. They would pull their pants up. They would get a cleaner haircut. They would iron their shirt. Or they would at least switch up to a level which at least gives them something to say that they're about. They're not just going to be what's going on out here now. This is crazy. I don't know, man. Folks out here just all over the place with it. But again, being a man, doing how a man does is not elevating you to like an equal status of man. That just means you're just giving a man everything for nothing. It really is. It's just like if you speak about a man that does all this stuff for a woman that really has no interest in him, you call him a simp. You call him a sucker. He's doing all this stuff being as a woman would, but getting nothing out of it. He'd be a sucker. So again, ladies, I don't think that strategy is a good one. Just saying. And y'all have so much more to lose in the deal than men do. Women get pregnant. Women give birth to babies. Men don't have to deal with that. We don't have to go through physical changes and things like that. We don't have to, bear children and now be the primary source of raising them and rearing them, and you know that you had a child with this cornball that you never should have been with in the first place. Now what? It's crazy. But anyway, I've been ranting way too long, and I'm just gonna chill with that right here, and hope everybody stays blessed. Everybody bless up, be well, and let's take ownership, man, in all different facets. So, later.